Hello everybody, welcome back for another video, and without further ado, let's jump right into it. Tether, the firm behind the world's largest stablecoin, posted a third-party attestation report earlier. The attestation, which was carried out by accounting giant BDO, revealed that the USDT issuer's assets exceeded their liabilities with $67.04 billion in assets and $66 billion in liabilities. The firm's excess reserves stood at $960 million US dollars. Tether CTO Paolo Ardoino claimed in a recent Twitter thread that the firm had a net profit of $700 million in the fourth quarter of 2022. However, the attestation report by BDO, which examined the firm's reserves as of the end of last year, had no mention of the profit. Furthermore, the firm failed to specify how the nine-figure profit was realized. It says after a tumultuous end to 2022, Tether has once again proven its stability, its resilience, and its ability, again, to handle bear markets and black swan events, setting itself apart from bad actors within the industry. BDO's report also revealed that Tether had brought down its exposure to commercial paper down to zero. The USDT issuer had eliminated commercial paper from its reserves, in line with its commitment to get rid of its commercial paper holdings by the end of 2022, given that it was less stable than other debt instruments such as U.S. Treasury bonds. For those of you who are scratching your head as to why this made the news, for those of you who, I guess a lot of you weren't here the last couple of days or maybe even sometime last week, the news now has to do with stablecoins. Are they real? Are they legitimate? Are they backed by something? This has a lot to do with the fiasco that we saw unfolding because allegedly the people from Circle/Coinbase got the people from Paxos and Binance in trouble by claiming that the Binance US dollar was an unregistered security and that Paxos had to stop issuing it in some sort of way. Tether has been here for a very long time. It's because Tether is the number one stablecoin that we have on the planet, as we've gone over many times. And part of the issue is, for those of you who did not see the other video, there's a lot of money to be made in stablecoins. Not from holding stablecoins, not from their value going up and down, but from being the issuer of a stablecoin, especially as we are at the point in history where a lot of different countries are also trying to launch their own digitized versions of currencies, especially the US dollar. This was very significant because we once again have had news, another indication, clarification, some type of a news from another company, and also from the people from Tether, that apparently they have more than enough money to cover the Tether that they are creating. This was a major news story back in the olden days of 2017, where for some reason people believed that the people from Tether were simply just printing Bitcoin, and they didn't have any money to back it up. So this is why we're hearing these numbers over and over, and we probably will forever as long as Tether remains the number one stablecoin that we have on the market. Also, yeah, if their profits, and I assume the profits come from the transaction fees of actually using Tether. So just for the last 3 months of 2022, they made $700 million. And if you sit there and ask yourself, why would a government not want Tether or any other company? Or why would a bank hate something like Tether or Paxos or the Binance US dollar or Circle USD? Well, it's because you can essentially, if you're Tether, be making nearly $3 billion per year just from people using your coin. So, that's a lot of money. This was very popular news all over the place. Tether reveals profit figures for the first time. I assume they will be doing this more and more, especially with the very weird regulatory scrutiny that we're now seeing for these things, as opposed to, like 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. But alas, we knew that they were going to arrive at some point, and here they are. So Expect more companies to be like, look, our stablecoin is real. I mean, I guess we're only really missing one at this point, and that's Circle. You know, the people who... Anyway, that's the Tether. Revealed that they made $700 million last quarter, and apparently had another company look at their stuff, and they have $900 million over what they need to have. So I guess extra collateralized. Fantastic. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in the news every single day. There we go. In a recent tweet, the lead developer of Shiba Inu clarified the situation over another coin called PAW. That is PAW. For those of you who don't know what a paw is, if English is not your first language, it's a dog's hand. The lead developer of SHIB, known in the social media space as Shitoshi Kusama, has taken to Twitter to answer the manifold questions that have been received as of late about whether or not he has any connection to the PAW token that has recently emerged on the market. He also highlighted that he does not own any PAW. He stated he has nothing to do with the meme cryptocurrency and it does not relate to Shiba Inu in any way. He warned the SHIB community to be careful, saying that there are many wolves in SHIB's clothing. You wouldn't believe it, or maybe you would. This was also quite popular news. Why? Because Shiba Inu's ecosystem also has about 38 different... Okay, it's like 5 coins. There's Shiba Inu, there's Bone. Isn't there also a Dig coin? There's a Leash coin. There's the Stable coin that they have, and then there's some other one that's floating around, or... What's the one that's supposed to be releasing with the layer 2 solution? I don't know. There's a lot of coins. So anytime that you get something remotely similar to Dogecoin or to Shiba Inu, and someone makes a claim online on a website or on Twitter, people tend to fall into said coin. This is why we saw that coin that I told you all to watch out for called Bonk rise in popularity so quick because people thought it was the brand new Shiba Inu and Dogecoin when Shiba Inu and Dogecoin are the brand new Shiba Inu and Dogecoin. They're meme coins. Like, we don't need 900 million meme coins. There's also Baby Inu and Shiba Baby and Floki Inu and all these other things that people don't need to be buying. But alas, so for those of you who were wondering, if you have any PAW tokens and you bought them because you thought it belonged into the ecosystem of Shiba Inu, I got some news for you, buddy. Nope. Apparently it's from someone else. They have nothing to do with it. There's allegedly no plans for integrations. They did not create it. So, as always, just watch what you're buying. Make sure to always do research before you throw your hard-earned money at something in the market that you just heard about a couple of seconds ago. And yeah, let's move on. So this is becoming a major thing, and I don't think it will end until we get there. Blockstream CEO Adam Back, that is B-A-C-K, believes that the price of Bitcoin could reach $10 million US by the end of the 6th halving in the year of 2032, as long as Bitcoin Layer 2 technology and wallet infrastructure improves. You might remember 4 or 5 days ago, I don't have the exact time frame. Time is blending into itself at this point. We've been hearing a lot of Bitcoin's gonna hit $500,000 in 2 years. Bitcoin's gonna hit $1.5 million in 4 years. Bitcoin's going to, you understand, this really... I'll use the word hypocal. It's not a word, but you understand what I'm saying. News about where Bitcoin's price is going to be and or should be right now. I told you basically this is because years ago, a lot of people predicted, and this is back in the 2016, 2017, 2018, where Bitcoin's price would be in 2020, where Bitcoin's price would be in 2022, and now we are near the time back in 2017 where a lot of people were predicting where Bitcoin's price would be back in 2025. These were like the craziest predictions. The idea of a $1 million Bitcoin seemed very clear in everyone's head, you know, despite the fact of what we went through in 2020 an economic downturn and all the other stuff that we were dealing with. But now that we are close to those time frames that we heard from a long time ago, the new magical thing that's floating around is talking about where Bitcoin's price is going to be in the next 7 or 8 years, something along those lines. But now we've gotten to the more mystical numbers, if you will, because a lot of the original people who were responsible developers on the original Bitcoin code, we're now getting close to the timeline when their numbers would or should eventually be coming true. And this is why this keeps on popping up. In a 12th of February Twitter thread, the Bitcoin core developer explained to 500,000 people what situation Hal Finney's $10 million price prediction for Bitcoin could come true. I think Hal Finney is believed to be one of the a lot of speculation, one of the original people who actually helped to develop Bitcoin. We don't know in what way. A lot of people speculate, but he is a major figurehead, or was, in the space. Bakkt noted that Bitcoin's price has actually doubled in price year on year on average. So, 1 year Bitcoin's at 10,000, the next one Bitcoin's at 4,000, then it goes down to like 2,000, then 6,000, and then for some reason it hits 20,000. It has these really weird things. But if you do like on average, Bitcoin, if you stretch the whole thing out, every year Bitcoin's price has actually doubled. It's kind of like you've heard before. You've seen people being like, well, the stock market's really stable. Year on year, on average, the stock market gives a return of 8%. It's kind of that same thing. If you look at the broader picture of as far as we've moved, Bitcoin's price has actually doubled year on year since 2013, and explained that if the trend continues, Bitcoin's price will reach $10 million, along with a $200 trillion market cap in just around 9 years. I know it sounds crazy. Believe me, I understand. His tweet says, early this year, I was curious of the claim, Bitcoin 2x's per year on average. It checks. The decade, January 2013 to December 2022, Bitcoin went up by 2.036% per year, 1,200x in a decade. If that continues, we'll cross $10 million per Bitcoin and a $200 trillion market cap by the end of the next 2 halvings in about 9 years. This also relatively matches up with what Plan B has been saying for a while. There's this year, I'm not sure if he still goes on podcasts and stuff like that, but a couple of years ago, he was talking about his charts. I'm talking 2018, 2019, and he claimed that by the time we get to the 2028 halving, he's expecting $1 million Bitcoin. He says if we don't have $1 million Bitcoin, he'll go to the moon, like physically get into it. He can say that. Anyway, the point is, he also at some point stopped showing the rest of his chart, and people were asking him why. He said because at some point Bitcoin's price becomes so high, he didn't feel comfortable even saying the number or the amount. The idea basically being that if Bitcoin does become this big, so the idea of a $100,000 Bitcoin, for those of you who don't know, means that other markets have begun to wash into Bitcoin, that people have begun to lose faith in other financial systems, and people are then throwing all the money that they have into this newfangled thing that we have called Bitcoin. The idea of a $500,000 Bitcoin that we heard from, this was from some Swiss bank back in 2018. For those of you who remember, you can maybe even find the article. It has something to do with if Bitcoin hits $500,000 per coin, it then has enough moxie, if you will, to be able to stand up to the US dollar. It's large enough to be able to, if it wanted to, push it to the side, and a lot more people would begin to trust in Bitcoin because they would see at that point, okay, this is something big. We should definitely be putting our money into it. The idea of a $10 million Bitcoin, you have to understand the significance of us hitting a $1 trillion market cap is obscene. There are companies that have been around since the early 1900s that still are worth around maybe $4 or $5 billion. $1 trillion is absolutely out of this world. Bitcoin by itself being worth $200 trillion, $10 million per coin, means that people have sold other assets to push their money into Bitcoin because it has a better return than anything else. People are no longer trusting in gold and silver because they see that the return on gold and silver is 0.5% over a decade, and Bitcoin keeps doubling year on year on year. So there was an article, and I read books about this as well, like the idea of what it means. You can find articles as well. What it means for the idea of hyperbitcoinization. It means basically everything is Bitcoin. So everything you denominate in, everything you buy in a store in the future would just be denominated in Satoshis. The idea of it even being in a full Bitcoin would be unfathomable because nobody would, barely people on the planet would even have a full Bitcoin. So everything is in simply Satoshis. It means that we live in a deflationary world where the value of everything in US dollar terms continues to decline in value every single year as Bitcoin continues to get stronger. Bitcoin becomes the financial instrument for the world. It's how money goes through. It's what everything is priced in. It is essentially the world's economy. If you look it up, it's very, very fascinating. And I think it also becomes a little bit weird in my mind to see that after all these years, we're finally like at the precipice of all of these things that I heard about so long ago that were supposed to happen, supposed to take place. And we have and are still essentially living through high amounts of inflation, governments collapsing, currencies collapsing. And it's just a matter of like where things will go next. It's very, very, very interesting to see all of this coming to play. Yeah, it says Blockstream founder says Bitcoin's market cap can reach $200 trillion by 2032. It's going to be fascinating. And I think I have ideas as to what the world would look like in a hyper-Bitcoinized world. It's a little dystopian. I won't lie to you. I think it would be better for everyone if everyone had a few Satoshis. That's not financial advice, by the way, because I don't know if Bitcoin's going to be hitting $200 trillion by 2032. But I told a lot of people even years ago, the idea that if Bitcoin was equally spread across everyone, I think it amounts to 300,000 Satoshis per person. So a lot of people who I know have gotten into crypto over the last couple of years, I tell them at least try to buy 1 million Satoshis for yourself. And I think people understand a little bit more when they do see Bitcoin's price go from 20,000 to 70,000. They go, okay, there's definitely something here. So they begin to buy a bit more, because one of my goals in life, besides the channel, helping as I try to help people out there, is the idea that I want everyone I know to make it. I refuse to be the only one having fun and traveling around. I want everyone to also share in the pie. If we get to a point where you can spend $200 to essentially make 100,000 from it, you understand what I'm saying. So if Bitcoin does eventually hit 1 million and then $10 million per coin, we are going to live in a very different world where the people who have Bitcoin and crypto will basically have everything. And those who do not will. It'll be a fascinating time. We're going to hear a lot more about this. There are a lot of other predictions that are going to keep popping up. Everyone's going to be discussing the future of where Bitcoin's price is going, especially heaven help us. When we finally do hit a $100,000 Bitcoin, it's game over. Everyone's going to be throwing as much money as possible into the system. That's the $200 trillion Bitcoin in 9 years news. And yeah, Let's move on. Also in the news, Mississippi's state Senate has passed a bill to protect crypto asset miners from being discriminated against on electricity rates. According to a report by Cointelegraph, the state Senate has passed the Mississippi Digital Asset Mining Act, which now awaits its companion bill to make it through the state's House of Representatives. Not too much to really discuss. A lot of states, it's mainly been like Texas, and was it Arizona? I don't remember. Basically, a lot of states are trying to figure out ways to make sure that the growing cryptocurrency industry does not falter and that they have some levels of protections, as we have seen that in New York State, they voted to basically ban any new companies from being able to mine Bitcoin for an estimated whatever number of years. But now a number of other states are trying to pass as many things as possible. I assume it has to do with the fact that their senators and congressional people are probably into crypto and have some crypto themselves. Because, you know, I sincerely myself don't believe that anyone 78 years of age working in a Senate or in Congress would actually care about people running code on a computer, unless they probably were making some themselves. So cool. Keep it up. At least, you know, the states are regulating themselves, because the SEC sure as heck isn't, which is a Snoop doggone shame. Anyway, that's the Mississippi bill crypto mining rights news. Yeah. Moving along. Also in always popular news, because people love this stuff, I don't know. One of the longest standing cryptocurrency exchanges, Bitstamp, has registered with the Financial Markets Authority in France. Thus, it followed other rivals, including Binance and Crypto.com, which already secured the green light from the watchdog. Bitstamp previously received approval from other European countries, including Italia and España. France's top monetary regulator, the Autorité des Marchés Financiers, AMF, added Bitstamp to the list of cryptocurrency platforms allowed to offer products and services, to local users. The firm highlighted the move on its Twitter page, saying it is thrilled to expand into the nation. The Luxembourg-based company obtained licenses in other European nations over the past several months. It registered as a VASP, a virtual asset service provider, in Italy in June of last year, July, and was authorized by Spain in November. Cool, wonderful. But we always get news like this. Remember last year when for some reason we got news every single time that Binance signed a piece of paper and they were legally able to work somewhere else? And then every time it was Coinbase got, I think, a license in, was it South America? It was somewhere in South America. And then they got another one in Ireland. And then they got something somewhere else. So I don't know if it's like a light crypto security blanket for people to hear this news, because it's always popular. It's always popular, I promise you. In that, is it that if you hear that Bitstamp or Binance or Coinbase has received regulatory approval and or a license in another country to be able to work there, does it secure crypto in your mind as like, oh, something that's more legitimized? Or I don't know, but it's always there. So good job, Bitstamp, on sitting through like a 5-hour meeting and signing paperwork, and now you can work in France. I'm 1,000% sure that Luxembourg is based in Europe, so the fact that they had to go through another paperwork ceremony and sign something to work in France just doesn't make a lot of sense. I wish the world made more sense, but the world doesn't make any sense. That's the Bitstamp news. Whoa, that's crazy. Can't believe it. All that paperwork. Wow, must have taken them a while. Hope they went to McDonald's or something after. And yeah, let's move on. Also in Bakkt, that is Bakkt, a crypto custody service that includes an app, where consumers can view and transact with assets, has announced the closure of its consumer-facing app as regulatory scrutiny increases. In a Monday press release, the digital asset company said it is shuttering its consumer-facing app to focus on business-to-business tech services. For those of you who were not here in the long ago, Bakkt is from the New York Stock Exchange. I would even dare say it is the crypto arm of the New York Stock Exchange. And they gained a huge amount of significance back in, I believe it was the very beginning, I think, of 2018, where they announced that the New York Stock Exchange was getting into crypto. And then about a couple of weeks later, all the countries around the world began to scream quite loud that Bitcoin was going too high, Bitcoin was terrible, Bitcoin was a menace, Bitcoin should have been made illegal, and cryptocurrency prices fell. At the time when Bakkt was going to launch, that was around the same exact time when Bitcoin Cash, Satoshi's vision, launched. Never forget, Bitcoin Cash, Satoshi's vision launched, and Bitcoin's price fell by half in one day. Yep, look at the charts. Look at the day when BSV launched. Look at Bitcoin's price. I'll never forget it. It went from 6,000 to 3,000 in less than 24 hours, and it ruined my life. On top of that, this is around the time when Bakkt was supposed to have been launching a lot of their products. But at this point, people began to be a bit weary of the cryptocurrency space. A lot of people didn't really want to invest. It was a really weird time in all of our lives. And then Bakkt began to launch stuff. But everyone was like, hold on, broski. We don't really want it because Bitcoin's price is down. And then Bakkt began to release a whole bunch of things. They also wanted to release a cryptocurrency exchange. They wanted to, I think Bakkt partnered with, it was like Bed Bath & Beyond. It was, what's that mall that's only for rich people? Nordstrom, that one. Nordstrom and like Krispy Kreme and a whole bunch of other companies in order to get people. So you would be able to use your crypto as a payment option if you use the Bakkt app. However, no one was using the Bakkt app at all. No one, like no consumers, no retail people. I think Bakkt was also the company that had launched Bitcoin futures. I believe it was Bakkt. I have a June time frame in my head and I don't know why. And I think at one point people were looking and I think they had like a $50 24-hour volume. That is 50, not 50 million. Like no one was using it. It was, no one cared about this platform. So they announced years ago that they would be discontinuing and or stopping a lot of the things that they were planning on doing within the cryptocurrency space because it simply wasn't the right time. They tried to make it seem like it was because cryptocurrency prices were going down, but I think people just, at least in crypto, trust Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance far more than they do the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ. That's just my personal feeling that I've been feeling. So on top of this, they now have announced that they're also going to be stopping their consumer, that's us, we're the consumers, app to focus on business to business so that the New York Stock Exchange / Bakkt will only be working with larger businesses and themselves as opposed to normal everyday people. The app will officially close down on the 16th of March, and current users will have access to all their crypto and cash on the Bakkt platform via a new web service, the company said. Bakkt CEO Gavin Michael said in a statement, as we continue to gain traction with our B2B2C, B2B2C strategy, we are laser focused on providing our partners and clients with seamless solutions that best serve their needs. The discontinuation of the app ensures we are supporting the relationship our partners and clients have with their customers. I just assume they're trying to save face. No one's using it. So many other crypto exchanges over the years from larger institutions have also completely collapsed. Remember years ago, we had hints that apparently JP Morgan and Bank of America were also going to try and release their own cryptocurrency exchanges, and that also didn't happen because I assume like 4 people would have been using it. I don't trust. First of all, banks are lucky that they've gotten this far, but also like, I don't want to work with JP Morgan Chase or Bank of America to deal with or hold my crypto or buy my crypto from them. That just sounds terrible. That doesn't sound like a good day at all. So anyway, Bakkt has discontinued something else. They're going to try and just work with business. I would just give it up at this point. Like, just have a whole bunch of indices on your platform, and maybe in like 10 years when Bitcoin's at, $900 million per coin, maybe that's when you open something. Besides that, like, just give it up. Like, yes, here we go. Look, this is it as well. Remember I told you like a couple days ago, I was like, this is when everyone was trying to make really weird words. So like we had hodl and spedin and safu. And what's the other thing? Fufu, whatever the other thing is that Changping Sao just made up like 2 days ago. This was the other one. I couldn't remember it. It was Bakkt. Bakkt. They were trying so hard to be young and cool, as opposed to just saying, because like, the idea is that they have your back. You are backed by the New York Stock Exchange. We have your, that's the idea. But instead of spelling it Backed or just any other word in the English language as opposed to backed, they chose Bakkt. Why? There's so many. There's a video you can watch online as to why certain companies, they believe, become more popular than others. There's apparently like a color scheme that companies use, a certain like text that makes you seem like certain font that makes you seem more believable. And it has something to do with like elongation in words that make people want to say that brand and or go to that brand. It's very, very weird human psychology. They were explaining why Subway, like the actual sandwich people, have remained popular. It has something to do with the S at the beginning of the word. They went over Starbucks as well, and it has to do with the word is so air quotes long, and the two S's at the end and the beginning. It's very, very interesting. I think they were talking about this was the same exact time. Anyway, doesn't matter. Long story short, Bakkt is dropping another thing that no one wanted to use. I think they just have really bad timing. They keep trying to release things or become popular like as the market is going down and or is down. Like if they were smart, they would be releasing something in like 4 months as the market keeps going up, and then like, advertise and put your stuff out there. But I guess they're not backed by anything. That wasn't a doom. It was more of a Bakkt. Anyway, that's the whoa, what happened? Bakkt news. And yeah. Well, let's move on. I do hopeth that you have all enjoyed-eth. These Bitcoin transactions are getting out of hand. The amount of backup that's on the network is it's a little crazy. I do hope you've all enjoyed. Do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.